Hi, and welcome to Quick Tip Tuesday with Applied Behaviour Solutions. My name is Robin. I know your time is valuable, so every Tuesday we release an episode loaded with quick tips designed to get you in and get you out. For our first episode, I want to share with you my 5 best tips to parents and professionals who work with children on how to get your kids to do things more independently and become less reliant on you. In this video, I can promise that you will walk away with a better understanding of the steps you can follow to set yourself and your little one up for success and ensure that they develop the confidence needed to learn new skills. As a behavior analyst, I've been working with children who have developmental disorders and delays, as well as kids who need a little bit extra support for 9 years now. And one thing that I see regularly is something that we refer to as prompt dependency. Now, a prompt is something that you do or say or even hint towards to help another person do something. So let me give you an example from my experience quickly. I worked with a little boy when he was 3 years old. When I started with him, he wasn't talking, not even a word. Where after 3 years of behavior analytics services, by the age of 6, he was communicating beautifully. His speech was a little delayed, but we got him to talk. We eventually got to a point where we decided to send him to school. We didn't know what to expect. Was he just going to sit there? Would he scream all day? Was he going to be fine? And here's where our problem began. Because we were so concerned that he wouldn't be able to handle a full day of school, delivery of instruction from teachers, social interaction, we started to help him a lot. And it's completely normal, right? We don't want to see our little ones fail. So we give them as much support as we need to ensure that they succeed. We started off by sitting next to him during school, helping him to complete his schoolwork and respond to his teacher. The thing is, this kid was super bright and highly capable, but he got used to our prompts and our assistance and would look to us for help whenever he asked us to do something. We used the tip that I'm about to give you today to get him to realize that he could actually do it all on his own. I want to start with a bonus tip. So for those of you who have watched from the beginning all the way to the end, you won't just get 5 tips, you're going to get a 6th bonus tip. And that's what I'm going to start with right now. Motivation. It is so important that we give our children everything they need to develop a healthy sense of self-worth and confidence. When you see your child do something on their own, I don't know, tidying up, completing an activity, or just about anything that you didn't need to help them with, praise them for it. Let them know how proud you are that they have the confidence to do it on their own. For really little ones, though, you may need to pair your praise with something tangible, like a small treat, so that they learn to associate the praise with something positive. The more confident your child is, the more likely they'll willing to be to try new things. And also persevere when the task becomes challenging. Okay, bonus tip done. While we're live, I will be answering any questions you may have. And if you're watching after we're live, I can promise that for the next 48 hours, I will keep checking the comments under the video to answer the questions there. So you don't have to worry if you weren't with us live. If you follow these tips, I'll tell you what will happen. You'll be teaching your child to perform tasks and activities independently, without needing constant reassurance from you or other adults before attempting a task. We know how crazy life can be sometimes, especially as parents, and I think especially during the lockdown situation. But if you don't do this, your child may become prompt dependent and not develop or refine important skills. Now, you may be thinking that your child doesn't need you to do any of these because you don't help them unnecessarily. But I can tell you from experience as a BA that as a parent, you aren't always aware of when you are helping too much and when you could be stepping back a little bit more. But not to worry, that's why I'm here. So let's jump straight into it. Hope you have your pen and your paper with you. Tip number 1, and this is a biggie. Wait them out. Sometimes we step in too quickly. Sometimes we need to allow them to make a mistake in order for them to learn the correct way to do something. But because we jumped in too soon, because we don't want to see them fail, they miss out on the opportunity to learn, and they will need your help again in the future. If it's a new skill that you're teaching or something that's a little bit more challenging, like tying a shoelace or writing a speech, try teaching them instead of doing it for them. So for shoelaces, demonstrate how to do it and let them copy you. Or if they get stuck at a particularly difficult step, instead of doing that step for them, point to the lace that they're meant to tie or loop. For a speech, you can give them the guideline or outline for the speech, help them with that, but then let them go and do it on their own. And reassure them that you'll be here for them at the end so that you can go through any edits needed. In behavioral terms, we refer to this as fading out. So basically what you need to do is fade out the intensity of your assistance to the point where they no longer need you. Otherwise, they will get stuck and they will require your help at the same point every time. Or they may just learn that you'll step in if they say they aren't able to do this. I remember when I was younger, I never knew how to iron clothes because I would tell my mom that I would ask her, can you show me how to iron those clothes again? I've forgotten. And she would do it. And because it worked so many times, I never bothered to learn how to iron my own clothes. The more you fade out and wait them out, the more they will need to do stuff. And this is how they're going to learn. Right, tip number 2. Be mindful of how you're helping them. So next time you're doing something with your child, ask yourself if you could be helping too much. Is it something that they could be doing on their own? Are they missing out on a learning opportunity because you're doing it for them? Right. Number 3, create a visual checklist so that they can learn to self-monitor. This will be a game changer for busy parents out there. When a child learns to self-monitor their own actions, they're able to identify where they went wrong and what they can do to be more accurate in the future. This aids in the development of essential executive functioning skills. Now, you may think that this one is only for the older kids, but you can do it with younger kids too, even children who aren't able to read yet. Take photos of things that they should be doing, even 2 to 3 tasks at a time, and teach them that once a task is finished, they can move on to the next one until the schedule is complete. It's super important to remember that while we're teaching our children to be independent, we also don't want to let them feel like we're never going to step in and help them. So if they do come to you halfway through a checklist or a really difficult task that they're trying to complete by themselves, listen to where they got stuck and guide them in the least invasive way possible to get to through the next step. Remember that bonus tip that I was talking about right in the beginning of this video? You may want to listen to that last part again. If you joined us after the bonus tip was given and to listen to it again, go to our page. The video will be loaded as soon as we're done here. Go watch it again. Right, tip number 4. Make sure that everything they need is easily accessible, especially if you're just starting to teach them to be more independent. If they don't have all the material needed to complete, an arts and crafts activity, for example, then they're going to keep coming to you for assistance. And our last tip number 5, and you need to know this if you want your child to succeed. Be consistent. They see patterns in our behavior. Kids are smart. If you follow these tips 50% of the time, then they know that they have a 50% chance of getting you to help them or do something for them. And so they're going to continue to try their luck, right? And I'm sure all of you parents and teachers and professionals out there have seen this before. Remember that kid that I was talking about in the beginning? He figured that waiting for us to help him was easier than learning how to do a math problem. And so he never really paid attention when his teacher taught him more challenging concepts. He knew that when he sat down for the activity, that we would sit right next to him and talk him through it step by step. Eventually, we figured out what he was doing and we stopped guiding him as much. There were some tears of frustration and injustice, but he's now in grade 4 and he knows when it's time to pay attention. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's my goal to be brief, to be detailed, and to be done so that you can get back to what you need to be doing. And we're done. Tune in next week for another episode of Quick Tips Tuesday. Bye.